Dr. Katz' Professional Therapist is mainly about the father-son bond between Dr. Katz and Ben, but the show regularly explores their relationships with others. Most of these relationships are friendships, like the friendship between Dr. Katz, Stanley, and Julie, or Ben and Todd. And Ben and Laura, but that's complicated.
You know what you're like, Laura? You're like a big old ball of bitch.
Some episodes experiment with putting these two in romantic situations with women, and that's what we're here to talk about today. It's our second Valentine's Day on this channel, and my gift to you viewers is this hopefully awesome video. Today, we are going to check out the floundering love lives of the Katzes. Dr. Katz seems to have better luck with dating than his son, but neither one actually ends up with a romantic happily ever after. Spoiler alert for a show from 30 years ago. Since he has more relationships under his belt, I figure we'd save him for later. Ben's list is way shorter, so we'll just bang that out now. Wait, not like that. Ben's romantic attempts go back to season 1. He's enamored with Laura from the first episode, and we'll talk more about her in a bit. We'll put a pin in that for now. In the 5th episode, Everybody's Got a Tushy, Dr. Katz is worried about Ben's social life. Ben is an introvert, shy and anxious by nature. Hanging out with others just isn't a big priority for him. He's content chilling at home watching TV, baking, or doing whatever this is. He's not keen on leaving the house, and socializing with others, especially those of the opposite sex, is not his best skill. You can imagine what this means for his dating life. His father is worried because when he was Ben's age, he had already spent a few years dating, hooking up with women, and even became a father, all before the age of 25-ish. Ben's path is much different, and Dr. Katz thinks it spells trouble for his son's well-being.
Sometimes I wonder if I have failed him in some way, that I haven't filled him with the information he needs to pursue the opposite sex.
To appease his father, and I think to give dating a try out of curiosity, Ben flips through his old yearbooks looking for classmates who still remember him and would like to go out. Maybe that's a little desperate, but hey, it's better than rubbing up on Grace the cleaning lady in a way that makes everyone uncomfortable. He calls up a few girls and eventually lands a date with Penelope Spiro, whom he hasn't seen since grade 4.
Oh, that was the last time you saw her.
Right.
We don't get to hear their probably awkward phone call, but Penelope agrees to meet up with Ben, and the two set a date for a Wednesday night.
Can I say 2 words to you?
Yeah.
Safe sex.
Safe sex, yeah.
Safe sex is no joke, my friend. It's for real.
Yes.
One time, you could get pregnant.
And that's where it ends. We don't get any sort of follow-up on their date, if they even went out at all, and we never see Penelope, and after this episode, we never hear of her again. I talked about this failed connection at length in another video, so check that out. The link is in the description, and hopefully I remembered to put a card up on the screen. In the Season 2 episode Sticky Notes, Ben has a crush on the new neighbor who moves into their building. She is not into him at all, assuming he's some kind of weirdo, and Ben is left disappointed. What strikes me about this romantic pursuit is that Ben takes initiative and shoots his shot completely unprompted. His shot is terribly executed, but it's a genuine try. His father offers some encouragement and advice, warning Ben against coming on too strong, and explaining that the new tenant will definitely misconstrue Ben's harmless intentions.
They're gonna lock you up, Ben.
Yeah. What?
They're gonna lock you up in a cell for life.
Come on, Dad, don't be
You
that
gotta
way.
back off. You gotta give her some space.
Of course, Dr. Katz was right, and the new tenant nips Ben's efforts in the bud, and probably his ego in the butt. And then we have Cindy the telemarketer,
Oh, my main squeeze.
Ben's misguided crush from the episode Phone Love.
I love it.
In my video on why Ben likes Laura, I, for some reason, whispered that Cindy wasn't a real relationship. I still stand by that, but I thought she was worth mentioning here because to Ben, it felt very real. The nature of the relationship may not have been what he thought, but his feelings were still real. Cindy doesn't actually like Ben romantically, but she does love him as a customer.
We have a limited supply, and I just wanted to make sure that all my priority customers had the opportunity to purchase one.
You really consider me sweet?
Every time they talk on the phone, Ben ends up buying something from her company. I go back and forth between assuming that Cindy doesn't know Ben has a crush on her, and that she does know and takes advantage of that. Probably the latter.
This woman clearly has her own agenda.
Well,
And it doesn't have to do with you personally. It has to do with her job. You are her dream come true, Ben. Somebody who
I hope so.
who thinks that she's interested in you personally, when in fact she's interested in you as a consumer.
Oh, you're saying she's duping me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying you're a big dupe.
Ben is fairly trusting, which makes him a bit gullible, so I could totally see a telemarketer whose job depends on making sales doing this. What I actually don't know is if Ben knows she's using him, or if he knows but doesn't care since a woman is actually being nice to him. Remember, Ben has a very low self-esteem, and any attention from a woman is good attention in his mind.
You are spoiling me rotten, you know that, don't you?
Now it's time to pull out that pin from earlier. Ben's number one crush has always been Laura. It's hard to talk about their relationship without repeating everything I said in my Why Ben Likes Laura video, but I'll do my best. From the moment he lays eyes on her in 1995 to the far future of 2017's Dr. Katz Audible series, Ben's heart has always belonged to Laura. I never mentioned the Audible series in my previous videos as I only wanted to focus on the 90s TV series, with supporting evidence from a 1996 book that I consider canon, and for the most part, I'd like to keep it that way as often as possible. But the Audible series seems to be canon too, and the fact that Ben still tries to get Laura's attention 22 years after the first time they meet really sticks out to me. Tiny spoiler alert for that series, sorry. In 2017, Ben is still single. Or single again? I can't remember if anyone mentions him having dated between the end of the TV series and the start of the Audible episodes. Laura still works for Dr. Katz, Ben still lives at home, and he still phones the office daily to chat with her. Nothing really changes from that cozy time in the 90s when things first started. Everyone's older, but the behaviors seem to be the same. When I first listened to the Audible episodes, I was frustrated with what they did to Ben's character. It was like he didn't grow much at all past his little character arc from the TV series. You know, from being friendless at home to hanging out with Todd and proposing to Laura. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that, yeah, this really is in line with Ben's character. He likes his comfort zone. He likes his daily routine of putzing around the house, talking to Laura, and being with his dad. Unemployment and creative but failed business ventures were Ben's specialty in the TV series, and the same is true for Audible. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised to find Ben still at home doing his same old Ben stuff. The fact that he still talks to her every day shows me that he still values her as a close friend, whether or not she feels the same exact way after 2 decades of putting up with him. But Audible series Laura is interesting to me. She chooses to stay at Dr. Katz's office, chooses to still answer Ben's calls, and still humors him when they talk on the phone. Maybe like Ben, she has her own comfort zone that she sticks to, and that's why she keeps her job at the office. Maybe she just knows that anyone else would fire the hell out of her for the stunts she pulls with Dr. Katz and Ben. I don't know. But as annoyed as she acts around Ben during the TV series, and as much as she jokes about quitting her job, she never leaves. Dr. Katz and Ben grow on her, and I think she comes to accept Ben as a friend. It seems like they'll just stay that way. From what we learned by watching these two characters over the years, their connection doesn't move past an awkward, usually one-sided, dysfunctional friendship. Sidebar, yes, I know he proposes to her a second time during a Dr. Katz live show, but the engagement is played off as a joke on his dad. I also don't know if the live shows are canon, so I won't consider this a canon event like the proposal at the end of the TV series. But maybe for Ben, friendship is good enough. Laura is the one who holds his heart, whether she intends to or not, and after all this time, she remains Ben's number one girl. Let's move on to Dr. Katz. Like I said earlier, he has a more active love life than Ben. He's had a couple of girlfriends, was married to Ben's mother for a while, and continues dating well into his late 40s when the TV show takes place. He's okay with putting himself out there romantically and emotionally, and he takes the risks that Ben doesn't. Thus, Dr. Katz's list of lovers is much longer and has more to discuss. Dr. Katz and Roz were married from around the time of Ben's birth. The details are a bit fuzzy here, but my assumption is that she got pregnant first and they married shortly after. Jury's still out on that one. Until their son was about 13 years old. I've talked about these two so much on this channel, so if you want a deeper look into my speculation on their relationship, go watch some of my other videos. My Dr. Katz's relationships video from last year has a whole big section on Roz. We don't see flashbacks of Jonathan and Roz's marriage on the show, but the book Dr. Katz's Me at a Glance fleshes out what the marriage probably looked like. Their marriage was rocky, possibly with the couple fighting often, and it ended in a painful divorce. One of my favorite episodes of the show is Thanksgiving, where Roz visits Jonathan and Ben for the first time in a long time. The two try to be civil for Ben's sake, but as the plans for a perfect evening unravel and the tension grows, they reach a point where they can't hold it together anymore. Jonathan stays quiet and submissive, but Roz gets upset and chastises him for something that used to bother her when they were married.
There is no reward with you. There's simply
no,
non-punishment. Dogs are trained better.
Her little quip about dogs being trained better than her ex-husband seems to sting, based on the face Dr. Katz makes when she says it. For a show that animated its scenes very sparingly, the fact that they put this little detail in says a lot. Roz quickly apologizes and says that the dinner was lovely and that Ben is a good boy, but the damage is done and she leaves shortly after. We never see her again after this episode. Jonathan and Roz's relationship seemed like one of those things where they tried their best given their circumstances, but their best just couldn't beat the dysfunction. The divorce was the best way their situation could have ended. In the Season 2 episode, It Takes Some Getting Used To, Dr. Katz hooks up with a lovely lady at an ethical therapists convention. This unnamed woman is a neural anatomist at the city hospital, where she apparently sedates cats and studies their brains.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Before she's had her first cup of coffee, she's killed 8 cats.
Well,
Or maybe she kills them? I'm not sure. But if she's studying their brain activity, you'd think killing them wouldn't be very useful. But anyway, I'm getting distracted. Ben wakes up one morning to find his dad wearing a fancy silk robe and happily cooking breakfast. Jonathan had what he calls a sleepover date the night before, and apparently Ben slept through the entire thing, having no idea that the woman was even there. That's probably for the best, to be honest. Though Ben seems salty about the whole thing, Dr. Katz is thrilled. I think this is the first time in the show that he has any kind of sexual relationship with a woman, and to him, this is a triumph. He's middle-aged and has been divorced for a long time, so the confirmation that he's still desirable to women gives him a huge boost of confidence. In fact, he's so pumped that he brings out the Panther Juice cologne for the first time in years. Nothing else comes of his connection with the neural anatomist, but Dr. Katz seems fine with that. Sometimes a person just wants a one-night stand, and as long as it's between two consenting adults who know that that's all it is, there's no harm. Sharon Myers has a big X by her name in her patient file, and for good reason. Dr. Katz had to refer her to someone else because their attraction to each other could have easily tipped over into lost license territory.
There was just too much going on there, for either of us to handle.
Ooh, what do you mean?
Well, Laura, you see me as a therapist and as your employer, but I am also a man, and...
Dr. Katz, you're...
Well, it's just that Sharon was drawn to me in a way that made both of us uncomfortable and therapy impossible. And what complicated this thing further is that I found her incredibly attractive,
Dr. Katz,
to use my own words.
You shouldn't be telling me this.
You shouldn't be listening.
We don't know how far they took things before he quit being her therapist, but when she calls his office in a season 4 episode, fittingly called Sharon Myers, Dr. Katz gets a little jumpy and more excited than usual at the prospect of hearing from her. They actually go on a date later in the episode, and he jokes that tonight is the night he loses his license. Jonathan is down bad for this woman. We don't get many details on how their night went, but I'm willing to assume that they went back to one of their places and hooked up after. The way he was waiting by the office door in case she might come by after he learned she called, I don't doubt he was ready to jump on her in a heartbeat. Just like the neural anatomist, we don't see him go out with Sharon again after this episode, and he doesn't talk about her anymore either. But part of me wonders if they kept each other in mind for the occasional booty call.
Isn't there another word for that wouldn't make me so nauseous?
Before Sharon Myers, before Roz, and before he went bald, Dr. Katz was engaged to a woman named Sharon Koppelman. They were together for a brief time in the 1960s and played together in a cute little folk duet called Koppelman and Katz. According to Jonathan, the reason they broke up was because Sharon wanted to move to California and he didn't. He seriously thought she was the one, and in the episode Koppelman and Katz from season 3, he and Ben wonder how his life would be different if he had followed Sharon out to California. She was Dr. Katz's one that got away, the one who gave him some of the best emotional and physical pleasure he's ever had.
She would play my body like an accordion,
Ooh. I usually hate accordion music, but I think I'd make an exception.
She was the only woman who could get me to hit the E above middle C.
We don't see Sharon in her current state during the episode, but Ben finds an old photo of the two and it is adorable. Seeing Jonathan in his old hippie getup makes me smile every time because it's just so far removed from how he looks during the show, but he's still got some of that free spirit in him. Towards the end of the episode, Jonathan tells Stanley and Julie about Sharon Koppelman and reveals that he actually got in touch with her again. She was still as hippie as ever, apparently drinking her own urine for health benefits. Dr. Katz might have dodged a bullet there.
Of course, there's the downside.
Which is...
Pee-pee breath.
Yeah.
But it was sweet that they were able to talk again and catch up. If they'd gotten married, would they have stayed together and built a life in California? I don't know.
And then, we'd be on some beach house in one of the Santa places out there. But maybe if you two had me, it wouldn't be Ben. I'd be named after some constellation, Cassiopeia, or Orion, the hunter.
That's kind of the beauty of this episode. It makes you realize that our lives can take surprising turns, and we'll always be left wondering what could have been.
I love you just the way I'd throw it all away. I love you.
Yeah.
Just the way you are.
Ah, that hurts. Hurts so good.
Mm-hmm.
In the final season of Dr. Katz Professional Therapist, Jonathan gets into a short-lived relationship with Dr. Alice Weber, a gastroenterologist and acclaimed author. But unlike the neural anatomist or Sharon Myers, he's not as jazzed about Dr. Weber.
Any messages, Laura?
Dr. Weber called. Twice already.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The episode is called Ball and Chain, and that title alone tells us how Dr. Katz views this relationship. He likes Alice, he respects her and her intelligence, but they don't have the chemistry he's looking for in a romantic partner. So they just break up, right? Well, Alice is very persuasive. She's convinced Dr. Katz to go on 3 dates with her, and he's pretty sure she'll talk him into going on even more. Though he doesn't really want to.
You want me to call her?
Would you? Because otherwise she'll talk me into it, and I really don't want to, I don't think I could sit through another meal with this one.
This keeps up throughout the episode, to the point where Ben worries that his dad is going to marry this woman. If Alice had it her way, and if it wasn't for Laura stepping in, that very well might have happened. Dr. Katz is not very good at setting firm boundaries, and it was already hard for him to say no to Alice.
Dr. Katz, are you asking me to break up with her for you?
Would you?
Yeah.
While I normally don't condone this move, having Laura break up with Dr. Weber for him was probably the only way Alice wouldn't have talked Jonathan into staying together in a situation he didn't want to maintain. Finally, we come to my favorite woman on Dr. Katz's list. I'm going to address this now. Dr. Katz and Julie never become romantically involved. Julie's voice actor Julianne Bond even says this in a comment left on one of my older videos. Huge shout out to her, by the way. She has her own YouTube channel. She is a real estate guru, so check her out if that is something you're interested in. The writers ultimately chose to keep the two as close friends. I can respect that choice. It seems realistic to me, since in real life, close friends often choose not to take their relationship beyond companionship to avoid possibly ruining what they have. Jonathan and Julie clearly have feelings for each other, but they never act on it, save for the time she kisses him to help him rehearse for a play. But she does say this by mistake.
Jonathan, do you know how long I've dreamed of this moment? Do you have any idea?
They kiss passionately.
This scene is adorable and hilarious when they just keep kissing and straight up ignore Stanley. It's a classic Freudian slip, an accidental reveal of Julie's feelings for Jonathan.
Something slips.
That was not a Freudian slip. A Freudian slip is when you say not what you intended, but what you actually mean.
Yeah, that's right.
But sadly, it never moves past that. This isn't the only time she's kissed him either. She gives him a congratulatory kiss on the forehead in It Takes Some Getting Used To when she learns that Jonathan met someone new.
I'm just so happy that you found someone new, John. Mwah.
Leaving Jonathan looking smitten. They could have been so cute together, but alas, that's not how the show turns out. Maybe in another life, John and Julie would get together and have a happy marriage. Ben would have a positive female role model in his life, and the addition of Julie to the Katz family would bring them happiness and peace. But I digress. Much like Ben and Laura, Jonathan and Julie are destined to remain nothing more than friends. But like I said earlier, sometimes two friends don't want to compromise their relationship by getting romantic or sexual, and that's okay. As long as they have each other in their lives, Dr. Katz and Julie will be happy. And there you have it. The flopped relationships of Benjamin and Jonathan Katz. Did I miss any? I know Dr. Katz mentions going out here and there in some other episodes, such as the time he has a date with a dental hygienist, but there's so little information on those encounters that I didn't feel the need to include them in this list. Do you think Dr. Katz and Julie should have gotten together? What about Ben and Laura? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and have a very happy Valentine's Day. Or if you're watching this on a different day, then just have a good day. Okay, bye!